Welcome back to Untamed Realty with Alex and Friends. This is episode 6 of our podcast. I'm so excited that we're keeping this rolling. I hope you guys are enjoying everything that we're putting out. Today's a really special podcast because she's my dear friend more than anything else. We have my dear friend Kristin Wegenka on the show, and she is also not only my dear friend, but she has now officially been my operations manager for a full year.
I know, crazy.
I don't know how that's possible. But I really wanted her on the show today because I feel like we needed just like a venting session, a break from all the wildness of this year. And I think it's so important for people who are listening to really get a better understanding for how to grow their business by utilizing the right people. So I'm going to ask the first big zinger of a question and just to get it going on here. What has been the number one hardest thing about transitioning to the AMH team?
Oh, geez. So this is why you need to give people like a
No,
heads
we're
up.
not giving people
the
a heads
hardest
up.
thing. Well,
you can be honest, Kristin.
I walked into a lot of chaos.
Yeah, you did walk in.
I walked into
a shit show.
So I would say for me, I wouldn't say it was hard, but that was the biggest challenge, right? Because you kind of go in and I think it took a couple of weeks and I just was like, okay, this isn't working. This isn't working. This isn't working. And we've slowly started making like improvements to kind of fix those areas and to try to control some of this chaos.
Yeah.
And to put it on a moving train.
Okay. I love all that, but let's get a little bit more detailed in that because I said we were gonna get this going real juicy, right? Yeah. Okay, so you started last October,
yeah,
and I knew mentally, emotionally that I was building something big, but I didn't realize that I had hit a ceiling really quickly. And let's backtrack for a second here because I would like to set the record straight. I did not poach you.
No.
I have never poached anybody that has come onto AMH, okay?
Yeah.
Everyone who has ever come onto AMH, whether they're friends, whether they're colleagues, they have come to me.
Yeah,
so
I totally reached out to you.
Okay,
yeah.
I would just like to set the record straight. Everybody poaches each other in this business. I get it. That's why you have to treat your people well. But at the same time, I would just like to set that record straight.
Yeah.
I did not come after you. You literally texted me on a day that I was literally having a nervous breakdown.
Oh, no, yeah.
This is no joke.
I didn't know you were having a nervous breakdown.
No, you didn't. Nobody does.
No
Everyone's always like, oh, you put on such a good face. I'm like, right. But that's not really helping me because deep down, I was literally breaking down. Yeah. And on that day, I was literally almost in tears because I was like, I don't know what I don't know and I don't know what I need, but I knew things weren't working. Yeah. And the day you messaged me was literally a day that I was looking at my business, thinking to myself, I need something new. I need something different. I need somebody to come in and help me. And you messaged me on that day.
Crazy. Divine intervention.
Literally.
I will say, as your friend, I had no idea that you were as frustrated with what you had until you and I talked about it.
Right.
After I had reached out to you.
Right.
So it wasn't like you were venting. I'm like, oh, no, I had literally just on my own free will reached out to you to see if you had any needs for anything. And so it just kind of worked out. So
it worked out. And you're staying, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because that was another thing. I was like, Kristin doesn't understand, I think, the chaos that she's coming into. And there's so many different layers to it, right? Because our world in general is chaos. Real estate is chaos, right?
Oh, yeah.
But it has to be organized chaos.
Yeah.
And I think you realize your position as an operations manager keeps me in an organized realm of chaos because as things are growing, I'm also learning too what roles I can take on and what I can't take on. Yeah. And you've been so good at helping me adjust, right? Because I had so many pieces working, and I've said to you this time and time again, and we're still just at the surface because I feel like 2025 has just been such a shit show.
Well, we kind of had to break everything down.
Yes. So explain in the beginning, when you came in, what were the 3 number one things that you felt needed to be fixed for like me running this type of operation, trying to get to
Yeah.
the numbers that we've been trying to get to, which like we'll get into that as well.
Mhm.
Like, what were the three biggest things? Because I think a lot of people who are watching this are trying to decide which direction they're going to take their businesses, whether they're in real
Mhm.
estate or not. And so like to bring someone like you on,
Yeah.
that's a big commitment on both sides. But like,
Yeah.
what were the biggest things that you felt were the number one necessary needs to go in and like correct right
Yeah.
away?
So for that's a good question. So I think for you, for coming into it, well, in general, I think any agent who is thinking about hiring an operations manager or an assistant or whatever, because I do more than just TC work for you, which for those who aren't in the know, that's documents and stuff. I do all sorts of things on top of that. But if you're thinking about hiring someone to do those things, you kind of need to take a step back as an agent and think, well, what are the things that I'm really good at that like ultimately make me money? Okay, it's following up with your leads, being in the car and meeting people, like making connections, going out and showing property or whatever that is. When you're doing all of those things, you physically cannot also be making sure your calendar's up to date, answering emails in a timely manner. Like you can do those things, your just production level is going to be lower.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so back to your original question, like when I came in, what were the several things that needed to like change pretty quickly? I felt like, what is it that's going to get Alex to do more of what she is best at to also like help grow her business, right?
And what do you see? Because like I know this year, what I realized is I had my hands in too many things, and I've
Yeah.
had to like regroup on that, right?
Yeah.
And you've made that clear without you even knowing. With
Yeah.
this whole back end team, I've realized like really refocusing. But like when
Yeah.
you came in, what did you see as like, okay, this is what Alex is good at as a team lead versus like
Yeah.
what I need to
I
be
just felt like
doing?
you liked, and you still do like, the idea of systems, but when I came in, you didn't really have anything that was functioning even at 50%. I
Mm-mm.
felt like, right?
Mm-mm.
Because any system you implement is always going to continuously need tweaking and revamping. You know, you're going to need to evaluate it and make sure that it's operating to how you want it to do. But you didn't really have anything that was working effectively.
Mm-mm.
And so one of the things I really pushed when we first came in was getting a standard CRM, one that wasn't just tracking leads, because you had one that was tracking your leads, but it wasn't tracking communication. It wasn't like all in
Yes.
one spot.
Yep.
Right. So we got a CRM and we put all of the contacts in there. And now, you know, we can go in there and I can see what communication Alex has had with the clients. And I can go in and like follow up on things if needed to be followed up with or whatever. And it's all in one spot. And, you know, it's a work in progress, but I feel like that probably helped your business a lot because one, everything's tracked.
Yes.
We can get into reasons why it's good to track your communications, but everything's in one spot. And so that helps everyone on the team because it's not your admin is kind of waiting for an update every day. Like I can go in and see, has Alex touched this client or whatever? Like I don't have to wait on you for that.
Mm-hmm.
So there was that. Also, I manage Alex's email for the most part. And I know that the person you had previously was doing that, but I don't think she was taking initiative.
No.
As far as
It was constantly sending it back to me.
Yeah.
When I was like, no, I need responses. Like I need to be able
Mhm.
to, at the end of the day, to look and say, okay, this was done. This was like, take
Yeah.
it off my plate. Don't
Yeah.
just throw it back on my
Right.
side of the court.
Yeah. And that was kind of a learning process too, because I had to figure out, okay, well, what does Alex really need here? You know, and so I go in your email several times a day and I file things. If there's something that I feel comfortable with responding to on your behalf or answering, I'll do that. If not, I will make sure you're aware and you need to do it.
Mhm,
Right. And so I think
mhm.
that helps because when you get in your email, it's not 600 emails. You know, it's really just 4 or 5.
I have a lot of subscriptions. I
Yeah,
need
she has
to-
a lot of subscriptions. But we also have like a
Subscribe to.
system where we start things and you know that's where you go.
Mhm.
You know.
Mhm.
The other thing I think that developed naturally kind of over time, and this probably is what do you call it? Of lack or a follow over of the previous agent I worked with was that I know when I get those 5-10 minutes on the phone with you every day, whether that's in the morning or in the afternoon before we shut off for the day, that I need to I have a running list on my desk that I need to make sure Alex knows about A, B, C, or D, right?
Mhm.
And so it's kind of like a data dump, right? So yeah, we might like kiki over whatever on the phone for a minute, but then I know before that phone call ends, these are the 4 things or 5 things or whatever that I know you need to know. And I don't think, again, the person previously was doing that with you. And I think that helps your business because all right, when I get out of the car, or even if I park at my next spot or showing or the gym with the girls, that I need to shoot off this text message or I need to respond to this, it helps focus you really. And so that's the last point, really. I think I helped you kind of get focus, or at least that's my goal, to help you kind of get focus on your day to day. So then, you can go to sleep at night thinking, all right, there's no loose strands. Or if there are, you're aware of the loose strands.
And we know what ranking
Yeah.
and importance they are, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I definitely like triage my to-do list every day. Every day is a new triage.
Yeah,
Like what is the most important thing that has to get done today? And if I get to the things that are less important on the list, great. But every day, every hour sometimes is a triage. And sometimes something comes up and that gets bumped.
But I think that's like the coolest part about us working together, because I can genuinely truly say, like, I feel like you and I, just like
Yeah.
us two, are
Yeah.
on the same page.
Yeah.
Like, that was another thing that I would say for anybody that's looking for an ops manager. Like, you have to, it's all about the people. It's all about the
For
right
sure.
person and how you guys work together, because certain agents work differently, right? Like, their order of importance, I mean, we would think that they're all the same, right? But like,
Yeah.
our order of importance, we know, is what's going to move the needle to, I mean, again, I'm just going to say it, to get a paycheck, right?
Yeah,
like
totally.
that's what it is.
Yeah,
like,
you hire the right people, they're going to fix your process.
yes.
And then that's going to affect your product.
Well, and can
then
I
affect your
also
profit.
well,
Yeah.
okay, and we can talk about that, right?
Yeah.
So in you coming over in October, we had decided, okay, the brokerage that I had been with Keller Williams for 10 years, and
Mhm.
I love KW. It was a very emotional.
I was excited to go back to KW.
I know.
When I came into the industry, I was at KW.
Yeah. I mean, Keller Williams, they're wonderful. Like,
Yeah.
I had nothing bad to say.
Yeah.
The problem is that I feel like KW, and I'm just going to say it, they're very new agent based. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, they're great with their trainings for newer agents.
Yeah.
But I had gotten to a point where I was stuck, and I plateaued, and I kept hitting that, that 25 million, 26 million mark. And I was like, I want to get to the next level.
Yeah.
How do I double my business, triple my business, right? Because by bringing you on, you're not cheap, right? And you shouldn't be. You're not. Your value, the value you bring, is worth every penny to me, right?
Yeah.
But the way I had to approach you was, I want you to be here for the growth of this business and your personal growth.
Yeah.
So the first change that we made together, not only did you come over, we also changed brokerages in amidst the chaos that was already going on.
I think I helped like calm you down about that too. Because
you 100%
with
did.
the person I was with before, I had changed brokers with that agent a couple of times. So I kind of knew going into it, all right, we're going to need to make sure we're going to do this, this, this. So I kind of knew it was going to be a Band-Aid to rip off for sure.
Yeah.
But like once you rip it off, like, come in, the water's fine.
Yeah. Because I was like, no, I can't do this. Because for me, not to say I'm lazy in that regard, but I was like, oh, we have to change signs. We have to switch over all of our listings. And you made that seamless. Like, and you even said that switching from KW to EXP was the
smoother.
Easiest
transition
you've made out of any brokerage that you've changed to, which that's saying something as well.
It definitely went through a couple broker changes with the previous agent I worked with. And this was definitely the smoothest.
And what's interesting is I actually spoke to a KW agent this morning about an off-market deal that she was sending me, which is great. Like, still have a great relationship with agents from that brokerage. And the one thing we first talked about, she was like, okay, gosh, like all of a sudden in the last year, it seems like you've just like exploded even more than what you were before. And I said, okay, well, 2 things happened. One, I knew I was meeting and doing this podcast with you today, but I literally said the 2 biggest things that happened in the last year were I switched to the right brokerage that understands my vision of building multiple revenue streams and running something a lot bigger than just a real estate brokerage team.
Totally.
And I brought in an operations manager who has taken so much stress off my plate.
Yeah.
And that really is true. Like, Kristin, this is the first year.
Don't cry.
I know, but I'm saying this. This is the first year through all the chaos. I'm actually able to go to sleep at a decent hour, and I'm putting it away. And I'm like, you know what? It's going to be okay the next day.
Yeah.
I haven't done that, you guys, in over 11 years. Like, I've ran at such a high stress, like high anxiety level. And I really hope you know that you coming into this, through it all, and we're still at the beginning stages of working through, but it's allowed me to like breathe for a minute. And it's allowed me to refocus on what is important and what my role is.
And that's the key, right? Because there's no longevity if you're burnout.
No, I'm so burnt out this year.
Right.
Like so burnt out the last 2 years.
I started in the business in 2017, about the same time you did. And I feel like there were great agents throughout the time I've been in real estate that have left the industry because they get burnt out, because they either can't let go of certain tasks, daily tasks, or, and so they are showing property, running around doing all these things, until Alex had a client she was showing property to recently. And she was at this one house. We were there for like 4 hours, right?
There's been a lot of those. It's been a lot of 4 or 5
They ended
hours.
up not even putting an offer in on it, but she was there for a long time, and so she didn't get home till like 8:00. Nobody wants to get home at 8:00 when you have young kids and cook dinner, spend time with your husband, whatever, and then get on the computer for 4 hours.
No, that's where
Right?
all my anxiety was coming from. It was a constant knowing I'm not done. I'm never done. Like,
I don't want to do that either.
I don't want you to do that either. And I think that's been a goal of ours this entire time.
Healthy boundaries.
Kristin is helping me set such healthy boundaries. Like, praise the Lord. It's been amazing. All of a sudden, and Kristin's been like my eyes and ears to watch the mistakes that I make as well. And you know me, like, I'm okay with you being like, Alex, you're dumb. Stop doing that. Like,
I tell her all the time.
About
certain things.
All the time.
I'm not going to call you out, but
but that's what I need, right? And I know that about myself. Like, I know where my pros and cons and weaknesses are and strengths are, and I'm learning. But like, having you come in and really just set the tone of like, Alex, absolutely not. We are not doing that. It has made me readjust all of my thinking. So like, thank you for that. And I can't say like enough, if you are in that space of like trying to figure out what's the next move, who do I need to hire? That is your hire. It's not a buyer's agent. It's not
It is
anything
totally,
else.
it's a financial commitment on your part as an agent for sure to take on paying my salary.
Let's look at the numbers though this year, right? Like, granted, the Q1 through 3 was, I don't even know, like the numbers were hitting, but then it was like I was backtracking because I had so much to fix. Like, even on a financial perspective, just like, we let go of team members this year, that it was time to just like, we tried it. It didn't work. We readjusted the marketing team, all the things, but like, for the first time, I was really looking at my numbers in a way that I've never before. And that's because I knew I had an obligation to you, that if I was bringing you in as this role, you can't go anywhere. So everything else that is developed around it, it starts with the relationship that we have together.
And I think, if agents who are listening, if you're going to do one investment, that's a great investment to start with, an ops manager. Even if it's somebody, like maybe you can only afford somebody part-time. Well, that's part-time. You're paying somebody to do something that you don't have to manage.
Right.
To allow you to do more, to get a higher number in the end.
And when we were just talking about this before we started, but even again, like through all this chaos, because we're in Q4, I said, I think we're going to literally double our numbers this year.
That's great. And that was our goal, right?
That was the goal.
But for a while we were like, I don't know if we're going to hit it,
Yeah, because we've been running around in 2025 with just like buyers, sellers, everybody angry, everybody grumpy. But we kept saying to each other,
we're just going to keep pushing through.
We're going to push through and we're going to ride the wave. And I finally feel like we're like getting over that hump, right? So let me ask you this question. What was one thing that you felt like you had to unlearn from your previous role and your previous broker that you worked with versus working with me? Because all I know is how I work and how I roll.
Okay, great. let's just be clear since we're setting the record straight, because I don't know if the person I worked for previously will listen to this or not.
He's
But
amazing.
he's
So
great. We're still friends.
yes.
But I feel like one thing I had to unlearn is in general, I don't want to say I have low self-esteem, but like I never want to overstep my role, because this is your business. And you've been great at giving me ownership in that, but this is still your name on the sign. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
And so
it's a we thing and an our thing.
Totally. And that's what I'm saying. I've had to get over that. Not that I was micromanaged by the other person, but I just feel like I have more autonomy. And so I've had to relearn, like, yeah, it's okay for me to go ahead and respond to title because I know the answer to that.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Or it's okay for me to go ahead and send this off because I know that's what,
And I
needs
think
to be done.
with me, you still ask, but you're like,
Mhm.
I already know the answer. And I'm like, yes, just do it.
Yeah,
Just do it, right?
Yeah.
Because for me, it's like, all right.
So I guess relearning like a little more courage to just do and confidence to do what I know needs to be done.
Yeah, because you already know,
Yeah.
right? And I think as that's gone, like I see you just like emerging and taking
Yeah.
more ownership and control over that. And
Yeah.
like as we're resetting already for 2026 and going into kind of these new EOS systems that
Yeah.
we're learning, and we're both reading this really awesome book,
Mhm.
Traction, that I feel like has just given me the confidence to be a
for
better role model, boss,
Business owner.
business owner, all the things.
Yeah.
You've really taken ownership
Totally.
over that.
Well, it's because I'm bought into the vision, right?
And that's
like,
huge, right?
I'm
And we're
bought in-
still redefining that.
Totally. Yeah.
But I think, and that was big because I think, again, the last group of support I had wasn't, right?
Yeah.
And so that was a huge factor to realize in growing this year. Okay, we tried certain things
Yeah.
with certain people. It's not working. I had to really sit down and decide who are the right people to
Mhm.
stay, to go, to make things work,
Yeah.
to move things forward.
Yeah.
And it was like all of a sudden in Q4, we kind of made those decisions, whether it was by choice
Or made for us.
or made for us.
Yeah.
I feel like, again, you said divine intervention. It's like the roadmap all of a sudden has just been laid out for me. And I haven't felt this good in a long time. So like, again, I
think sometimes like it's in general, if you are stuck in, and this goes for all aspects of life, like sometimes it's good to just break it down and start back up
from the beginning.
Yeah.
From the beginning.
And that's kind of what this year has really ended up being about.
Mhm.
And that's okay.
Yeah. Because like,
I think I always knew it was going to kind of be like that. Maybe not to this extent, but I knew, especially when I started this time last year, like Alex said, I've been with her for a year. I knew that there were things that needed to change, and I knew there was going to be some rebuilding and some systems creating, but I just think it's been a little bit more than that. And that's great. You know what I mean? Because since I am bought into the vision, like, I feel like we're doing it together.
We are. Like, that's the thing. We are, right? Like,
Yeah.
even the people behind these cameras right now, Kristin, Anthony, like, all the four of us, I think we're developing a really good group here, right? But I've also learned too, I can't fit what my strengths are into the same box that other agents are. And that's been a big learning process this year that you've helped me with, is realizing like, okay, I tried a model by bringing on buyer's agents. It just didn't work, right? Because my vision is different than what other people might possibly be doing. So I think, again,
or what they even want,
And I didn't know what I wanted, right?
Yeah.
I had to like totally sit down and readjust after we went through so many growing pains this year, where it was like, okay, what do I want? What do I love about this business? But I think that you helped me with that, because as the systems were getting more organized, it was realizing like, gosh, I do love being out with my clients. Like, I don't like being behind a computer. No. Like, I'm better in front of people. Like, I need my back end systems to be solid, organized,
moving things along for you when you're out in the field.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Like, I can run the front end. Like, that's what makes me happy.
Yeah. And I like to be in the back end. So.
Well, and it's interesting, right? Because again, moving to EXP, my mentors over there have been incredible. And I met with a few of them last week, right? And one of them was talking to me about, like, again, mega agent. She's, again, running things all by herself. But she was asking me, well, does your assistant, you ops manager, do they show for you? And I was like, no, they don't show for me, because to me, Kristin needs to be behind the scenes, running everything. So when I get home at the end of the day, I don't have 10 million things I have to do on the computer. That works for me. that apparently
It's a lot
doesn't.
easier if you need to. And there's been a couple times recently where you've needed to, pay an agent to show a property for you.
Of course. And I think that's more
Yeah.
the route we're going to go,
Yeah.
right? Because we've talked a lot about that too. Like, and again, any agents out there who are looking to probably like learn just from a showing perspective, speaking to clients, all the things. But for me, that didn't make sense to just pass clients off to a buyer's agent because for
those
me,
are your hard-earned clients.
that's been my biggest issue, right? Is I'm like, hold on. Why am I going to take people who I enjoy being around? Because we definitely have gotten rid of the people that we do not enjoy being around this year. They have been cut, adios. We can talk about that in a minute. But that was another big thing of me realizing the reason why I didn't want to be out in the field with clients is because I was working with the wrong people, right? Like I had engulfed myself in unfortunately very toxic situations with clients who were literally dragging me down.
100%.
And if I hadn't have brought you into the picture to see from the outside, like, Alex, this is not okay. Like you are allowing people to literally make you feel less than
over you all day long. Every day. And distract you from other business.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was one of the biggest things.
And you know what? Credit to the agent I used to work with. That was a lesson I learned from him.
That's amazing because you came in and you looked at me and really said, Alex, you cannot allow these people to disrespect you like that. And when you came in, I was at the lowest point in my own.
Did you think too, like, because you and I have been friends for a long time, do you think too, me coming in and seeing this, it's kind of like, oh no, my room's a mess. I got to clean this up. I can't let her see this.
No, I didn't give a fuck. I was like, oh, dude, this is a fucking shit show. I told you that from day one. I was like, yo, I'm really good at sales. I'm really good at like moving things forward. This is what I know, but I knew the back end side.
Well, I'm just talking about the clients who were kind of.
Oh, no, because I think it was so bad. I was so like,
distracted.
You know me. I'm a confident person. Like, everybody has their insecurities, but like for the most part, like, you know me, I'm pretty like, this is what it is. I say how it is.
Yeah.
I had been beaten up so badly the last really 2 years by certain groups of people that yes, I was doing a lot of volume and business with them, but I was being so abused in the process.
Yeah, it's not worth it. The healthy boundary, right? Like,
I didn't see it. I didn't see it until you came in and you were like, this is not okay. Like they're literally making you like shrivel up into nothing.
And you weren't enjoying your time outside of your job because you were
miserable. I was constantly on edge all the time. And it took you to see that to be like, is this worth it? For me to really reassess and look. And like, what's crazy is the second we got rid of those groups of people, things have just soared again, I feel.
And I feel lighter.
So much lighter.
Yeah.
Like we would go into the office every day and just be like, wah, wah, like literally.
Let me open my email and see what this
actually
shit show's gonna be today.
So actually, let's talk about that. So when you came in October,
say that on a podcast, right?
Of course you can. This one you can. When you first came in, the first let's say the first 90 days, do you remember a transaction that you were like? Because I know this year you have seen transactions that you have never seen previously.
It's true. It's clients really that made transactions difficult.
Okay, so tell me one that like sticks out in your mind because like we all have different experiences. What was one situation that you were just like, dude, this is wild. Like I don't know.
I'm not gonna say addresses, right?
No, don't say addresses. Don't say addresses. Don't say names. But like I feel like we could write a book on the transactions that we've handled this year.
Yeah. Well, I feel like there were a couple So one on the transaction side of things, there was a listing that you had for a while that I feel like even to this day, you would bring the sellers offers and because of their greed, they would nitpick it. And you as the agent, you go back to the buyer because it's your job. You take what your clients are telling you they want to go back with. And because they were being greedy, the buyers would go away. I think in the end, because it just took, multiple times. And this happened with multiple transactions. And so I don't know if you're thinking of the same one that I'm intentionally talking about right now, but I feel like if they would have just not been so greedy the first time an offer was presented to them, they probably would have ended up making more when they finally sold it.
But isn't that like a theme of this year?
Totally. Yeah.
But I also think in going back to working with such difficult people early on when you started, I had lost all my confidence that I normally had in having very upfront conversations, right?
And that you just want to make them happy. Because
yes, I was
your
just
mind,
trying to
you're
make
like,
people
I
happy.
have these other listings coming up with you.
Yes,
you know?
yes. And I allowed clients to run the show, which I had never done before, right?
No.
You have to give your clients confidence in knowing that they feel like you're listening to them and, you're taking into account. But the reason why they hire our team
is because of your expertise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I had lost all that when you first came in.
I would agree
and
with that.
I have even seen a difference, like my mindset shift even recently was just going back to like what I know how to do, which is you might not like my answer. You might not agree with my answer, but you hired me for my professionalism and my experience. So I'm going to give you my opinion.
For sure. And you can take it or not. Like we even have some current clients where you've suggested several times, I think we should adjust price. And every time they're like, nope. You're like, okay, well, I've given you the data. I'm going to stay the course because that's what you want to do. But you as the professional have given them the data.
But I think going back to really realizing we had to let go of some of these tough people in order to move forward in a positive way and better, it's given me the confidence again to have those conversations that I never had an issue with having before. And look, even within the last 2 months, it's literally been contract after contract after contract because I'm like, okay, we are back. Like we are back. And it is the best feeling in the world because I realized all of that extra dead weight needed to be released. And now it's like we're on fire again. I feel knock on wood because this isn't wood. Okay, because we're having those real and honest conversations again that I was so in my own head about because I felt like I was disappointing people. And even being in such a tough market, I had to go back to, like you said, the basics, which started with us rebuilding the systems.
Yeah, for sure.
So I guess like in summing up this section, I would say to anybody who's really considering they feel stuck, they've hit a ceiling, it's hiring the right people to help you to take those things off your plate. Because don't get me wrong, this year, our numbers are going to be incredible, but I financially had to take a step back in order to make sure the right team members were being paid correctly for us to move forward. And that's been the best decision that I could have made, right? And it was a lot of trial and error, but it made a big difference for sure.
Yeah, thanks.
So what would you say in your mind? What's been like the craziest transaction? I mean, we just had
I don't know if listeners know, but you had a stint where you had a little bit of a health issue this year.
Yeah.
And so there were a couple transactions while you were in the thick of that, I don't know, were just kind of bonkers on my end. So
what about this latest big one? Because we just had a really, really, really big closing. And I feel like I've never in my life worked so crazily or so hard.
Yeah. I love that. It's a love-hate with that client, right? That client, the first time we met that person, I remember I went with you to that showing.
You did?
Yes, because it was this.
See, I don't even remember. I black things out.
Wanting to see one of Alex's listings. This is always hard when you're recording this because you're like coding everything.
You're good. He doesn't listen.
You think so? I don't know. So they had called you off of, it was an internet lead basically is how it comes across our system because they had called wanting to see this particular property.
Yes.
And you didn't know them from Adam. And so you're like, I don't want to go to this listing appointment alone because the listing they wanted to see was a very big house. And so we got in the car and we went with you.
I don't even remember.
Because it was like...
That's so funny. I don't even remember this. Okay. Yeah, you were there. I really don't remember.
So, the person pulls up in a nice car and you're like, okay, he's got a good car. But then then they walk in and, workout clothes, which whatever, people run around in workout clothes all the time. But it was one of those things where they liked the particular house, but we knew they were never going to make an offer on that house. But
there were a lot of complaints.
you've kept up communication, because in that, which I think is great, because in that one showing, even that day, through walking them through that property, you left that one showing and took them to another house instantly.
Yes, I remember that. Yes.
You took them to another house. They walked that, and that particular client, I think a lot of agents would have just been like, "This is a waste of time. I'm not going to keep going, whatever."
Well, no, because as we move forward over the months, you'll get into that. But when I was showing more stuff, agents I knew would
Yeah.
pull me aside and be like, we know who this person
This guy is crazy.
He's been coming to open houses for years looking at stuff. He's never going to do
never
anything.
pulled the trigger.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But the difference is you stuck with him and like got into the crazy with him. The reality is
I love him too, and his
he
family.
just has big dreams.
That's exactly it.
That's the thing.
It's exactly it.
Wants what he wants, and he wants to be able to do and fulfill this dream that he has for his family home, and he wasn't going to settle.
Yeah.
And so that's why he would go to open houses after open houses, and agents in this particular market area knew him because he would go to all these things because he was just trying to find what he wanted to fulfill his dream, really.
That's so special that you're saying that, because that's exactly it. I feel like just nobody was really listening to him.
Yeah.
Because again, in this industry, we have to remember, yes, we love the deal. We have to make deals work in order to make a living. But at the end of the day, it's people and it's their livelihood. Right? This man was paying cash for a multi-million dollar properties, had other properties that needed to be moved in order to make this work.
Yeah.
You have to understand that.
You got to see the big picture.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It may take you months to get something signed, maybe even closed with the client like that. At least I've learned in watching these higher end clients, but the paycheck is bigger. So it's like
the paycheck's bigger, and I think the relationship is bigger.
Yeah, and there's networking opportunities, right?
100%.
So this particular client, even before we closed this property with him recently, he had already sent you somebody else, and we had already closed on that property.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And there's no telling who else. Well, that particular lead has already said multiple times to you and to me, like, anyone I know who needs an agent, I'm recommending you, whatever. So that's the bigger picture I'm talking about. It's not just like the bigger commission. It's the bigger, like, what other deals is this going to lead to? Because I was willing to go on this journey with this guy to find his dream. Right. So we did finally find this house, but that was a whole
we can say it. The listing agent was nuts.
No,
I don't think that she even has the bandwidth to know like the latest technology. I'm just gonna say that based on,
I have never reached out to title before, and I literally did because I wanted to know if this title agent had worked with this agent before
to make sure she was sane.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never done that before because I feel like it's overstepping.
But it is, but we had to get it done, right?
Yeah.
And this particular deal, it took us over 3 months to get an executed contract because there were so many millions of dollars in back tax liens that we had to cover. The listing agent wasn't giving us any information, so we had to
It is cryptic.
It was weird. Her emails didn't make sense. She was mean. It was confusing. She was asking unethical questions that I could tell. We could have technically filed a TREC complaint, but we were like, well, we don't want to let this deal go because our client wants this house. But then let's fast forward to closing, which just happened. And my client kept saying to me, do you feel like I overpaid? Do you feel like I overpaid? And I was like, no, you did not overpay. This is a great deal.
Great location,
the location, the
size
lot,
of the lot,
all the things. You're going to remodel this and you're going to turn it into even better investment. And what happened? What happened last week and this week that I was like, dude, you can't even make this up. My mom was in town and listening to this in the car and she's like, what is going on?
So the listing agent had kept telling Alex, like, you guys can walk, basically.
Yeah.
Like I said, her communication was cryptic, but in summary, it was, we have other offers. If your client doesn't want to do this, go ahead and walk, right? And every time our client would be like, no, I really want this house, fine, so we stuck it through. Well, Alex gets a call from, another agent.
Yes. This was this week.
This week, basically, like, I saw that you closed on this property. What would it take for your client to sell? Basically.
Literally, this man hadn't even owned the home for 72 hours. They were willing to offer what? 11, 12, 13. Over $800K more than what he paid for it. Okay. So she's begging me, like, just go back to him. Cash. We'll pay for your commissions again. We'll pay for all closing costs.
Yeah.
So I call him up and I'm like, see what I told you about you thought you were overpaying?
Yeah.
Someone's willing to offer you almost $1 million more
for holding it for 3 days.
For literally owning it, closing on a Friday, and I got that call on a Monday, right? So that made him super giddy. Well, of course, he crunches his numbers. He's like, well, no, I have like 40% I have to pay in capital gains if we do that. So
I've already put on a new roof.
Yes.
Yeah.
So long story short, I mean, I threw out a really high number back to this other group. They were supposed to get back to me and they didn't. I know he's not going to sell this house. But the point is, in all of that, it solidified a relationship with this guy because
he trusts you now.
100% trusts us, right? Because not only that, I was basically trying to make him $1 million in 72 hours. Turning around, hey, you want to sell it? Somebody wants it. Which then also led to us now selling, another $5 million in lots for him, right? So again, going back to that, I think like you have seen me really push some crazy situations this year, but I was really trying to get us outside of the box to a different level that I've never even been in before, right? It's dealing with different brokers and different owners and properties that I've never seen at that level. And it's been such a learning year, but like you've also taken that journey with me as well.
For sure.
So in talking about
back to him though, I will say that also goes to show you for agents who are listening, like, you bought into the dream with him.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not that he hadn't met other agents before you, because clearly he had.
He knows every agent.
Everyone in the area in that part of town knows him.
Yes.
Like, a missed opportunity on their part, right?
Yeah.
Like, you got to buy into the dream with somebody, Like,
yeah. And I think for some people, you're not always.
And it's not, we were talking about two different types of clients, because we had clients this year who were very high stress. This guy was not high stress.
No, he's great. No. He's great. Like, he just, like you said, he knows what he wants. He had a vision. He has goals. He has spreadsheets for everything. But I think, and also that too, agents have to realize, and like, I think you're seeing that with me. I love learning from my clients, right? So like, when you start to level up, I learn more from them than they're getting from me, honestly. I'm seeing how they...
And you're great at that in general. You're really good at going there with people, right? So I've seen it multiple times with different clients. You will, and I know with this particular client we're talking about, you did it with him. Because early on there were discussions about, well, what if we do this one and remodel it this way? Or what if we do this and buy a whole lot, from the ground up or whatever? Like, you are okay, here's the problem. Here's the goal. Let's find a solution. Always with people. You are always really good at that. And I think that translates to your business for sure,
Well, and I think sometimes too, I don't know the solution.
I know, but you're willing to like, let's talk about it. Like, let's call this architect and see if he can help us. Or like, you want a pool? I got a pool guy. Let's see if we can get a pool back here. Let's call the city if they'll approve this permit,
like, which is talking about pools. Like, that's another thing that's so funny right? Like, I feel like this year alone has brought in us so many amazing, like, new level connections where like even the pool guy that I randomly met from something else, he does pools all through River Oaks, Memorial, Hunters Creek, Piney Point. He called me and was like, hey, I need to find a house.
He knows like 50 agents.
He knows every agent. And he's like, hey, come show me and my clients, my family at this house. Oh, and I'm going to need you to sell my house too. So again, it's like, it's a humbling experience because it's like, okay, why are you picking our team over other agents? And I do ask, like, hey, you guys come across all these other agents. What makes us stand out? And the one thing that I consistently hear is people say, like, you guys are real. You have real conversations with us. You spend the time with us. And we know you want the sale.
Yeah. You and I joke about, like, we like to get scrappy with people.
Heck yeah, we get scrappy with people. I'll get scrappy with you. What do you need me to do? I mean, I go over to this client's house. I sit in his office and his mom comes and brings him nuggets for lunch. And he's like, hey, you want some nuggets? And I'm like, no, I don't want your frozen nuggets. I just want to talk about your house. But like, again, we get to that level with people very quickly, which is like, to me, again, I lost sight of that, I think. And you really helped me bring back like why I love this industry and why I
thanks.
love what I do.
It can be fun.
Super fun.
It's supposed to be fun.
It is supposed to be fun. So in moving forward, what things do you want to see within our industry and within our business in particular change moving into 2026? Because we've talked about a lot of things. I have goals for us. Kristin, okay, I've been saying this since she started. I'm going to take her on a trip to Montana, okay? Because I've never been to Montana. I really want to just frolic in the snow, go pet some snow horses. I don't even know if snow horses are a thing. Pet horses in the snow
the
and
Clydesdales.
Yeah, whatever. Take a sleigh ride, whatever with you to like redo a lot of what's coming in 2026 because we've got some really big things coming in 2026. Yeah. What do you want to see transpire for us?
For us
on the horizon?
In general, I just would love for 2026. The first, like Alex mentioned, 3/4 of the year were kind of stressful. I would like to get back to like the joy, right? So my parents, we all come from different backgrounds, but one of the lessons that my parents taught me that has always stuck with me, like do what you do because you love it.
Yeah.
The money will come.
Yeah.
But do what you do because you love it. And you weren't loving real estate at the beginning of this year.
I was miserable.
For sure. You were miserable. And so I think I would love for moving forward, because I already see, like I mentioned a few moments ago, I feel like we feel lighter. You know, I already see like light and like it's changing in our little business here. I would love for that 2026 to just be about like the joy of what we do, you know, because there is joy in it. Buying a home should be fun for people.
I agree.
Even if you're selling a home, like you're going somewhere else, like these life changes should be fun and happy for people. You know, like we are hopefully with our clients at some of the best times of their lives, you know? And so like, that's what it should be about.
No, and I'm with you on that. Yeah. What do you feel like are 3 things that we could really do to make that happen?
Well, I think for starters, one, and we've already started doing it, like not investing time in things.
Losers. Just say it. Losers. If you're a loser, I'm not going to work with you. Just telling you right now. I'm over it.
Well, just things that are draining, life and
like
business
losers.
draining. Losers can be life and business draining.
Like people stealing money from your company.
Ooh, we're going there. Okay.
Like, I don't know, like people just complaining about things that shouldn't be complained about. Like, again, I have new eyes on things.
Yeah.
I had to learn some really tough lessons this year. And I know for a fact that I've been taken advantage of, but I think that a lot of stuff had to happen for me. All this had to happen for me to realize like, holy shit, what am I doing? Like I built this, like, I can't, I never want to lose this, but like I let so many things drain me and take advantage of me.
And there's not like a cookie cutter like method. You have to do what works for Alex.
Right.
Because what works for Alex might not like work for Agent Joe Smith or whatever.
Right.
You know, like
right. Correct.
You got to do what's going to work for you and how you foresee this, you know, moving forward. So
what do you like 3 things that you think for 2026?
So definitely not, you know, it's not worth it, right? Like I feel like I can tell pretty early on if a client's going to be that kind of client, you know, so can you? I just gave her a look.
Well, yeah, but then like you just said, like I just keep working through it, and 9 out of 10, I'm like, I'm going to make this work, and then it's like, should I really make this work? Or I think I'm better now.
You are better.
I think I'm back to like old Alex in some ways.
So like setting boundaries with that, and like not continuing on with clients and moving forward with clients because no business is worth your mental health, period. You know, no business is worth your mental health, period. So there's that. 2, I would like to spend, and we're already like doing this, like some more time in developing our systems as far as, okay, this is our roadmap of how we are going to operate every day, every week, every month, every quarter, every year. And we keep like going back and checking on it. I had a previous boss who before I came into real estate, he really like ingrained in us about you take a situation and you evaluate it, you examine it, you plan, and you execute. So I
Oh,
think,
I love that. Can you say that again? I love that. Can you say that again?
oh my gosh, he will never listen to this, but he like harped on us. And I was in a completely different industry, not even an industry.
It's all the same though. You still have to have your systems. It has to be organized.
You take a situation and you evaluate it, you examine it, you plan, and then you execute, right? So like we just, that closing we were just talking about. So we're going to evaluate it. We're going to examine it. Like what went well, like what didn't go well, like how could we have done it better? What went great, then we're going to plan for the next time, like moving forward. We were just talking about something earlier before we started, like moving forward. I suggested, I think we need to have this particular document signed just in case, so we have it in our back pocket, but like
it's called a termination document because a lot of people are terminating in 2025.
So we just like have it. So we have a plan. And then if needed, right, when you're ready, you're already ready because you've already evaluated, examined, and then you've made a plan. And now we're going to execute that plan, right? Because we've already done all the thinking ahead of it. So we're not necessarily putting out fires all the time. We're just planning it out. Like, so it naturally becomes smoother. So I think developing our systems a little bit better is going to help with that. And then when we are ready to grow again, we're already going to be like, okay, well, nobody uses binders or paper anymore. But in theory, like, here's the binder, here's our steps,
our Google Drive.
And then you and I, as things grow, like, okay, it's been 6 weeks. Like, let's go back to this binder. Are we following it? Are we following the steps? So I think that's good for all of us because we all need that reminder. And maybe something isn't working. So like, let's take the whiteout out. Do people have whiteout anymore? I don't know, but like,
I don't even know if
let's fix it, and like adjust it accordingly. So, and then the third thing, I don't know. I think probably I think it's important for you and I both to maybe like figure out a way to have more personal time.
I agree.
Right? So whether that is we cut off at, let's be realistic, 6 p.m., or we make sure we're not working 24 hours a day on the weekends or whatever that looks like. And if we do work on a Saturday, like if you're showing all day on a Saturday and doing open houses or whatever that looks like, then you're taking time off during the week to be with your family or just get life done. Like
we've been better about taking Sundays.
For sure.
Like I have said, like, hey, morning, like don't answer anything.
Yeah.
Or if I answer, don't check it.
Yeah.
So, okay. So I know as I'm working on our CEO systems and bringing you into all of that, what would you say would be our next hire then for 2026?
I want to say small, because I think a TC, right? Because right now I'm doing operations and TC. So I think a TC, because that would allow me to like do some other stuff. And that's not like a full salary either.
Agreed.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so for those of you who don't know, you typically pay TC per transaction. And that's kind of how that works out, typically.
I just wanted to hear your answer. I think we're on the same page, but I just wanted to hear what you were going to say.
Yeah.
Okay. One more question before we wrap things up. What is your best thing of 2025? Because I can tell you what mine is with you for 2025 working with AMH. I don't know what you're going to say, but
I don't know if it's like working, but we took a quick trip to Louisiana.
Yeah, we sure did.
And we worked. We definitely worked while we were there, but the reason we were going was not for work. We went to go support a friend who had lost a family member, but like, we just had so much fun.
We had a blast. Kristin couldn't find me any food, and I was getting really grumpy. And every stop we went to, they were closed.
Oh yeah.
And then we finally found a place
because we got in the car to leave Houston to head to the spot.
Yeah, to go to.
She hopped on a really important call with some investors about this big project she has in the works.
Don't even remember that either.
And so I'm driving, and I know the route we're taking because it's on the way to my husband's family's lake house. And so I know like at a certain point we're going to hit Nowheresville and there's not going to be anything, and Alex and I both don't really love like fast food.
No.
So I'm like, truck stop Burger King is not going to work for these girls, So I'm like,
I should have loaded us up on Power Bars.
No. Oh yeah. No. And I'm allergic to shellfish. So that is a hard
Louisiana
pass.
is not a good place for probably either one of us to go. And I'm telling you, we stopped at I think 3 or 4 different Subways, and they were all
closed. And it wasn't even late. We're talking like 7:30, 8 p.m. on a Sunday.
And again, this
but
is
it's
like
East Texas and then Louisiana. So like everything is shut because it's the Lord's Day. And I am a believer, so I get it. But also like people gotta eat.
Yeah, but this California girl is still like, dude, where the fuck is food? Like, this is wild. Like, how do we find food? This is nuts. And we got to the Holiday Inn. I mean, again, some people think I'm bougie or assume I'm bougie for some reason, but I'm really not. I was so impressed with the Holiday Inn in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, we had 2 king beds in there.
Pretty sure I like jumped on the bed. I was so excited
we
to
had
get
like
there.
a couch. We had like we called it our office.
Yeah, it was our office. It was
table.
Great.
It was great. So that was a fun memory. Just that the whole trip, we had lots of little fun things during that trip. But I think the other highlight was there was a closing that was rough. The transaction was rough.
Which one, Kristin?
Well, I can't remember which of the 2 I'm thinking about it actually was, but I remember we all happened to actually be in the office that day. And I'm sitting there, we're all in the same room. And I'm a structured person, so I would always go into the office and I would go back to my desk. Previous to me working at AMH, I think everyone just worked at the conference table, but like, no, I need to not be in the chaos because I do detailed work, And so, but when I started working back there, I think people just started coming back there and working with me, which is fine. But we were all in this little room and I get the email that it closed and funded and I mention it and we all got up and started dancing and we opened a bottle of champagne. Yes. It was unfortunately quickly overshadowed by some other shit show hitting the fan. So it lasted for like 10 minutes, but I remember we were all like really excited, like, yes, it's finally closed. Goodbye.
Yeah. There were some good ones.
Yeah. So I think for me, those were 2 good.
Okay. Can I tell you what my favorite part of 2025's been?
Yeah.
And you working here?
Yeah.
Getting to see you become a mom.
Oh,
so for everybody that knows, Kristin has a newborn. Yeah. And we've been waiting a long time for this.
We have.
So I think the beauty of our friendship and our relationship and our business relationship, because it is always so scary bringing friends in, right? Yeah. That's been a big thing. And you have handled things so gracefully. And I'm so glad we've been able to adjust and work with, your new schedule. And I really wanted this to be a space where I want
It's been great. I'm so fortunate, right? Yeah. I was telling you the other day, like, I don't know what I would have done. Like, I've worked the whole time.
Yeah, it's been fine.
But it's because we've been able to just figure it out, But that's what moms do. We just kind of figure it out.
You figure it out. But I don't think a lot of other people could have done that as well of you, taking on a newborn and handling my chaos. And also I obviously have a 3 and a 5-year-old and a husband who also travels a lot for work, but I could not have gotten through this year without you. So thanks. I'm so appreciative for you. Yeah, and thank you for being here.
I like being here.
Good. So. You're staying forever.
In fact, sign this contract.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. Well, thank you for being on the show. And one more thing, if you could recommend, because you do listen to good podcasts, if you could recommend to anybody, any topic, anything, what would you want to hear? What do you think people would want to listen to and hear about? Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good question. I think people want to hear about something a little lighter. Right. So I think maybe recommending some vendors in the area, like bringing on a designer or,
some fun things, not some tough topics. Okay. I like that. All right. I'll think about that for next time. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for being here. I love you.
Thanks. Love you too.
Okay.
Bye, guys. Bye.